Lance, your memories of Pete Perrone as we celebrate his life.
Well, I actually first met Pete after my father passed away at the end of December '96. And the thing is, for whatever reason, I had never been in Mohawk Place up till that point.
That seems weird because even I had been.
Oddly enough, it just, for whatever reason I hadn't been, I probably thought of it as like more of like a blues country bar or whatever. And at the time, that just wasn't, that wasn't where I was going. So for whatever reason, I never did, even though I knew Jack Hunter and I knew other people. I just never ended up there. But anyways, when my father passed, I knew that, I saw Jack Hunter around that time, and he was telling me about how, like, Pete had put something in the calendar for the Mohawk calendar they used to do, because my father was a regular patron.
That's nice.
Yeah, so oddly enough, that was like I first started stopping and then to kind of like, say hi. I thought that was a really nice gesture and all that. And then it's just, like I said, that was my first experience of Mohawk, and it was like, the place just kind of grew on me. And then it's like within very few weeks, because keep in mind, this is like January '97. So within like a few weeks, I happened to be hanging out there, and I catch like the first Irving Claus show that they ever played there. There were other things going on there, Question Mark and the Mysterians and what have you.
I was there for that.
Yeah. And eventually when I was working with Dolly Watchers, then we started booking there. But really getting back to Pete, Pete was somebody from the get-go. He started talking to me. He obviously knew my father, so he had he was just very accommodating from the get-go. He was always like, he remembered you. He wanted to know how you were doing, how my sisters were doing, my mother was doing. And, he was always like, he was just a very regular guy. He'd sit down, he'd shoot the shit with you, he'd buy you a drink. He would, you get his opinion on whatever was going on, some of which he loved, some of which he didn't, as far as what was in the club. But he was just always a good guy, and he was always like that presence that was there, whether it was a night where there were, 600 people, like somehow packed in there to see whoever, or if it was 3 people, and he was wondering why the hell they were open. But he was like there, and that was the cool thing.
Was it always a sweet ride with Pete, or were there any rocky moments ever?
Personally, I always had a good time with Pete, and I always got along with him. But, there were certain, if you got into certain types of political arguments with him or whatever, well, you may not have wanted to go there.
He was right-wing, right?
He was definitely right-wing, and I was not. But I never, we never got into that. I'm usually pretty good at finding the middle ground with people and knowing what to avoid. I know people, on the other hand, who didn't, and they might have different stories, but but all this came from Pete's background. He was a military guy when he grew up, what have you, so he's going to lean a little more right.
Because I talked to Rob from Irving Claus last week. I think the key question with every band is, I said, because he hated my band, Bad Ronald, and I said, did he like Irving Claus? I thought he was going to say yeah, and he said no.
Yeah, actually, I remember at first he couldn't stand the Irving Claus. It was like he he had no idea what the hell they were doing there. I think he was pissed off at him because I think the first show they were late.
Those bastards being late at a rock and roll show at a dive bar? Yeah. What?
I know, it's really unheard of, especially in Buffalo. But, he eventually, obviously he warmed to those guys. They ended up playing there enough and what have you, But, yeah, there were bands that he just didn't like, and he let you know that.
So my big question is, did he like the Dolly Watchers?
I think he liked the Dolly Watchers. We used to bring in good crowds for a while, so he loved it.
I mean the music. I'm not talking about whether he got enough people there.
I think he liked the Dolly Watchers. Yeah, I didn't.
Did he like the 747 sound, where you felt 747 was landing in your backyard?
See, I think he liked it from that end of the bar, close to the door. He didn't like it real close to the stage.
Who would? It was crazy.
Well, that's why we gave away earplugs too.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's rock and roll.
They were going for the Deep Purple record, Dolly Watchers.
Well, yeah, we had a lot of equipment in there for a small room, but it's like, that's rock and roll. Rock and roll, you're supposed to feel. It's supposed to be vibration. It's like, it's heavy bass.
It's ironic because Ken Weber was the bassist, and it was super heavy bass, super loud, and he used to call on a few years before he even was doing that to John Otto, and he used to say, "Boy, I hate those kids, John, in my neighborhood, blaring that bass stuff in their cars, and it's blaring. Oh, my God, it's so loud." And that area is rocking out like that.
I think I heard some of those interviews, yeah, because I used to be a John Otto guy.
He was great, wasn't he?
He was great. He was, yeah.
What do you remember of John Otto?
Actually, I used to know John Otto because he used to come in when I used to work at Frontier. He used to come in all the time.
So he was a nice guy?
He was a nice guy who came in all the time.
Who's better, Pete Perrone or John Otto?
Oh, it's definitely Pete. Come on.
What other Pete's do you like? You like Pete Townshend, Pete Frampton, Peter Tork?
See, you're taking all the Pete's away right away. Let's see. Pete Fountain. Well, no, I don't like Pete Fountain.
No one likes Pete Fountain.
Nobody likes Pete Fountain.
Amy, you got any questions? Why don't you meet Lance? Have you met Lance yet? Come over here. Have you met Lance yet?
Sure. Hi. Nice
How you
to
doing?
meet you.
Nice to
Amy,
meet you.
Lance.
Introduce Amy.
Yes.
I just did.
I like your man bag, by the way.
He's got to talk into here in the corner.
Okay.
It's already on though.
Okay. What did you not discuss?
Well, try it, because if you didn't hear it, just
pretend you're all alone starting with you hit it. But
Okay.
still,
I think she erased it.
I'm sorry about that. No, I know.
It's okay.
We're just recording.
Okay.
Right in there.
Right in there. What would you like?
I really don't know what you guys covered in the last. What did you talk about your best memory that you had with?
There were a lot of good memories with Pete, because, like I said, Pete was just a good guy who would, want to know what you were up to, and he was interested in people, and, he was able to, you were willing to offer his opinion, whether he liked things or not.
Encourage, but
Yeah.
that's helpful in art to critique.
Yes, it is.
Really is.
If he didn't like something, like if you were in there and it was like one of those, like I was telling Greg, if it was one of those days when they had like 3 people in there watching the band, and he's kind of holding his head going, why the fuck are these guys on stage, and why am I here, and, what have you, you would hear that, and he would tell the band usually too. But if he liked you, he would let you know that too.
Yeah. Well,
and he did let enough.
You can trust those people.
Yeah,
because you know exactly.
Because you're not getting BS from him. You're getting the real deal. And it's like he was genuine that way. And it's like you may not have agreed with him, but that's who he was. He was a good guy.
But you take that and you use it for your next performance.
Hopefully, yeah. For those people who are performing, I was just booking performers, but that's a trick in itself. So.
Okay, so you were not a performer.
I was not a performer. I'm not saying that I've never done any kind of performance, but rock and roll, no.
When you do perform, you do what?
I used to do voice acting and on-camera stuff, yes.
Nice. People have been telling me to do that. Is it fun? Is it?
It can be. It depends. You have to kind of find your little niche and work that, and get in the right groove with people. But yeah,
Did you do cartoons? Did you do advertising?
I actually did a little bit of. I did a little bit of advertising, or I did radio commercials. I did a little bit of voiceover for cartoons and things like that. So all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Just anywhere it took you.
Anywhere it took you, because you have to, because that's just the nature of the business.
It's the part,
whatever is out there,
if
they're paying or if there's something to do, you better learn how to do it.
You gotta schlep and do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, that was very nice talking to you. It was very nice meeting you. Hope you have a nice time in there.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy.